Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tutoring Pros channel. In this video, we're going to be going over a 6th grade math final exam, and we're going to be going step by step and discussing how exactly you can pass it. If you haven't already, please make sure to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel for more math content. Alright, number 1. They'll use these steps to form a pattern. The first term is 3, the second term is 5. Each term after the second is the sum of the two terms just before it. The first 5 terms in Dale's pattern are the following: 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. For this question, the most important part is this third step. Each term after the second is the sum of the first of the two terms just before it. So if we're focused on 8, for example, we can see that 8 is 3 plus 5. And then similarly, if we're looking at 13, we can see that 13 is 5 plus 8. So any number after the first two is the sum of the previous two terms. So they're asking for what are the next 3 terms. Well, all we have to do is add the last 2 terms up. So if we add 13 plus 21, that's going to give us 34. Then if we add 34 and 21, 34 plus 21 is going to be 55. So 34, 55. And then 55 plus 34 is going to be 89. And this will be answer choice C. The graph below shows that Kim's mean bowling score have formed a pattern in the last 10 weeks. Her mean has stayed the same for 2 weeks and then increased by the same amount the next week. Here we have a graph of what the change in Kim's bowling score looks like over the number of weeks. So the question asks, if the pattern continues for the next 2 weeks, what will Kim's mean score be in week 12? So I'm going to include the answer choices and part of the graph. So as we can see, the graph has been following the same type of trend. It stays the same for 1 week, and then it increases by 10 points. Here it went from 100 to 110 from week 2 to week 3. Then it stayed the same, and then it increased another 10. So this is the pattern that we're going to follow. It stays the same, increases 10, stays the same, increases 10. We want to see what will the average score be in week 12. If we look at the x-axis, week 11 will be this vertical line, and then week 12 will be the vertical line all the way to the right. So if we follow the pattern, from week 9 to week 10, it stays the same. Then from week 10 to week 11, it's going to increase by 10 points. And then from week 11 to week 12, it'll stay the same again. So in week 12, Kim should have an average bowling score of 150, or answer choice A. What is the value of the following expression when P equals 9? So all we have to do here is substitute P for 9 in the expression that they provided. So whenever we see a number and a variable right next to each other, this means multiplication. So this really means 6 times P plus 5. So if we're going to replace P with 9, we'll write 6 times 9 plus 5. 6 times 9 is 54, plus 5 is going to be 59, or answer choice C. X equals 3, what is the value of the following expression? Here we have 3 times x squared plus 2. Once again, when we have a number and a variable right next to each other, this means multiplication. So we can rewrite this as 3 times x squared plus 2. So if we substitute 3 for x, we'll have 3 times 3 squared plus 2. Following order of operations, we're first going to do exponent. 3 squared is going to be 9. So that'll be 3 times 9 plus 2. 3 times 9 is 27 plus 2, which will be 29, which will be answer choice C. Number 6 says, if x equals 6, what is the value of the expression below? Here, instead of x, we're going to plug in 6, so this will be 2 plus 6 squared. Once again, following order of operations, we're first going to do the inside of the parentheses. 2 plus 6 is going to be 8 squared. 8 squared is going to be 64, which I'll move the screen down a bit, is going to be answer choice D. What is the value of the following expression when b equals 5? So once again, all we're going to do is substitute the number 5 in wherever we see b. So this is going to be 5 plus 5 squared times 3 minus 5. Just as a reminder, I'm going to write the order of operations, which is Pemdas. First we see, is there a parentheses? Yes, I see a parentheses right here. On the inside of the parentheses, first we're going to do the exponent. So that'll be 5 plus 5 squared is the same as 5 times 5, which is going to be 25 times 3 minus 5. Then we're going to do the multiplication. 5 plus 25 times 3 is going to be 75 minus 5. And then all we have left is addition and subtraction. So 5 plus 75 is going to be 80 minus 5 is just 75, which will be answer choice A. Cut an entire length of rope into 28 pieces, each 1.5 feet long. What was the length of the rope before Chuck cut it? So in order to find the answer here, we need to think about the question. He cut an entire rope into 28 pieces, and each of these pieces is 1.5 feet long. So in order to find the total distance, we need to get each of those 28 pieces and multiply it by whatever the length is. So we need to do 28 times 1.5. So this is going to be 28 times 1 plus 28 times a half. 28 times 1 is 28. And then half of 28 is 14. So if we're adding 28 and 14, we're going to get 42, which is answer choice D. One winter in Enrique's home state, it snowed 38 inches in 6.5 days. What is that rate in inches of snow per day? So in order to answer this question, we need to find out what the rate in inches of snow per day was. Whenever you see the word per, you should automatically think about division. And we're going to divide whatever comes before the word per by whatever comes after the word per. So it's asking for the number of inches of snow per just means division, the number of days. So this is going to be 39 divided by 6.5. In order to divide these two numbers, we first need to turn 6.5 into an improper fraction. So on top, the 39 is going to stay the same. And on the bottom, we need to turn 6.5 to an improper fraction. We do that first by leaving the denominator the same, or the bottom. And then to find the top, we need to do the whole number times the denominator. 6 times 2, which is 12. Then you add that number to the numerator. 12 plus 1 is 13. Once we have this fraction, I'm going to rewrite it. 39 divided by 13 over 2. We can think of 39 as 39 over 1. And when we have two fractions dividing, what we have to do is keep the first fraction the same, 39 over 1, change the division to multiplication, and flip the last fraction to 2 over 13. Finally, we can simplify using the butterfly method. 39 can divide by 13. 39 would become 3 and 13 will become 1. And when we're multiplying fractions, all we have to do is multiply across. So on top, 3 times 2 is going to be 6. And on the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1. So we can see that it snowed an average of 6 inches per day. Or answer choice C. Mrs. Johnson plans to cut 6 feet. Mrs. Johnson plans to cut a 6-foot board into pieces that are 3/4 foot long, as shown in the diagram below. How many pieces can she get from this board? Whenever we're trying to see how many we can get out of a total, what we have to do is divide. So we're going to be dividing 6 by 3 over 4. We need to think about 6 as a fraction, so we're going to think about it as 6 over 1. And when we're dividing two fractions, we need to do keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep the first fraction the same, 6 over 1. We're going to change the division to multiplication. And we're going to flip the last fraction to 4 over 3. If we multiply across, 6 times 4 is 24. 1 times 3 is 3. And if we divide 24 by 3, we're going to get 8. So we will get 8 pieces in total, or answer choice B. The large square below was divided into smaller squares of equal size. What fractional part of the large square is represented by the number of small squares that contain the number 7? So first we need to figure out how many squares are there in total. So if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And since it's a square, it'll be 10 by 10. So there's 100 in total. So we need to see how many of these smaller squares contain the number 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this will be 10 over 100 or 1 over 10. I'm going to scroll down so you can see the answer choices. And 1 over 10 is going to be answer choice D. The table shows the number of pies eaten by the top 4 contestants in a middle school pie eating contest. Ali ate 5.5 pies, Brett ate 5 1/4 pies, Lewis ate 5 2/3, Zeke ate 5 3/8. Which of the following lists the number of pies eaten in order from least to greatest? So for this question, we need to change the mixed fractions to decimal numbers. So 5.5 is the same thing as 5.5. Let me rewrite that. 5 1/4 is the same as 5.25. 5 2/3 is the same as 5.66. And 5 3/8 is the same as 5.375. So if we were to list these numbers from least to greatest, first it would be 5 1/4. Then it would be 5 3/8. Then 5.5. And finally 5 2/3. And if we look through the answer choices, we will see that this is answer choice D. Number 13. Fractional parts of the rectangle below have been shaded. Which rectangle best represents the decimal 0.583? So what we're going to do is find the fractional parts of each rectangle. The way that we do that is we're going to count the number of shaded squares versus the total number of squares. So each of these rectangles have 12 squares in total. So since we're creating a fraction for each of the figures, it's going to be over 12. And for the top number, the numerator, we're going to count the number of shaded squares. So for figure 1, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 out of 12 are shaded, which is equivalent to 0.5. That is not the same as 0.583. So for figure number 2, remember it's going to be over 12. And then figure 2 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shaded. I'm not too sure what this is, so I'm going to keep going for now. Figure 3, it's going to be out of 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know that this is less than half. 5 out of 12 is going to be less than 0.5. So there's no way that this can be 0.583. And then figure 4 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 12, which is equivalent to 0. This is going to be 2 out of 3, so 0.66, which is not 0.583. So the answer here is going to be 7 over 12, or figure 2, which is answer choice B. Sandra bought 4 bags of nails for a carpentry project. The weights of the bag in pounds are shown below. 2 and 5/6, 1 and 1/4, 2 and 1/8, 1 and 3/4. Which is the closest to the total weight of the 4 bags of nails? So in order to add these 4 mixed numbers, first we can add the whole numbers. So we'll do 2 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1, which is going to be 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6. Now we need to add up all the fractions. 5 over 6 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 8 plus 1 over 4. So whenever we're adding fractions, we need to come up with the least common denominator. So what is the least common multiple between 6, 4, and 8? This is going to be 24. So we're going to change all of the denominators to 24, and we're going to figure out the numerators in a second. So everything is going to be over 24. We need to think about, how do we get from 6 to 24? We need to multiply by 4. So what we do to the bottom, we're also going to do to the top. 5 times 4 is going to be 20. So the numerator of this first fraction is 20. How do we get from 4 to 24? This is going to be times 6. So we do the same to the top. And the numerator for the second fraction is going to be 6. How do we go from 8 to 24? This is going to be times 3. So what we do to the bottom, we're also going to do to the top. And finally, like we did in the second fraction, we can multiply the top and bottom by 6. And we'll get 6 over 24. And if we add up all of the numerators, 20 plus 6 is 26. 26 plus 3 is 29. 29 plus 3 is going to be 35 over 24. And if we were to change this to a mixed number, it would be 1 and 11 over 24. So finally, we need to add 6 and 1 and 11 over 24, which is going to be 7 and 11 over 24. So the closest to this number, 7 and 11 over 24, will be 8 pounds, or answer choice B. Justin prepared 987 ads for mailing. To prepare each ad, it took him about 7 seconds to put each ad into an envelope and 8 seconds to seal, label, and stamp each envelope. Which is closest to the total amount of time it took Justin to prepare the ads? So for this question, we need to approximate, then multiply. If it took him 7 seconds to put each ad into the envelope and 8 seconds to seal, label, and stamp it, it'll take him 15 seconds to prepare each envelope. He prepared a total of 987 ads, which if we round this number, we would get 1,000. And if we multiply 1,000 by 15, we're going to get 15,000, or answer choice D. Number 16 asks, Nikki and 4 friends had lunch at their favorite restaurant. The total bill was $29 and they wanted to leave a 15% tip. Which amount of money is closest to the 15% tip? We're going to do something similar in this question, which is we're going to round the $29 to $30. And we want to multiply this by 15%. The easiest way to calculate 15% would be to think about it in 2 different steps. 15% is the same as 10% plus 5%. 10% of 30 is going to be $3. 5% of 30 is going to be half of 10%. Since 5 is half of 10, 5% is going to be half of 10%. So since 10% was 3, 5% will be half of that, which is 1.5. And 3 plus 1.5 is going to be 4.5, or $4.50, which is answer choice D. What is the value of the expression shown below? 4 plus 2 times 1 plus 3 squared minus 1. So for this question, we need to follow Pemdas. First, we're going to look for the parentheses. That's going to be the 1 plus 3 squared. So we're going to rewrite that 4 plus 2 times 1 plus 3 squared minus 1. So within the parentheses, we have an addition and we have exponents. So we're going to do the exponent first, then the addition. So 4 plus 2 times 3 squared is going to be 9. So this is 1 plus 9 minus 1. And this will be 4 plus 2. 1 plus 9 is going to be 10 minus 1. So next, there are no more exponents, but we have multiplication. So 4 plus 2 times 10 is going to be 20 minus 1. 4 plus 20 is 24. 24 minus 1 is 23. Or answer choice C. Number 18. What is the value of the expression shown below? 4 squared plus 6 minus 5 squared divided by 4 plus 4 minus 7. So first we need to deal with the parentheses. So we're going to rewrite this 4 squared plus the inside of this parenthesis is 6 minus 5, which is going to be 1 squared divided by 4 plus 4, which is going to be 8 minus 7. Next, we're going to deal with all of the exponents. So 4 squared is 16 plus 1 squared, which is 1, divided by 8 minus 7. So the next part of Pemdas, or our order of operations, is going to be the division. So we'll have 16 plus 1 over 8 minus 7. And then now we can subtract the 16 and the 7. That's going to give us 9 plus 1 over 8, which is just 9 and 1/8. Or answer choice B. Which choice gives the correct order of operations to evaluate the expression below? So the first thing that we're going to need to do is inside of the parentheses, which is going to be subtraction. So the first step is going to be to subtract them. Then we need to do multiplication and division in order from left to right. So once we do that subtraction, we'll have 10 plus 5 divided by 5 times 2. So multiplication and division we need to do from left to right. So this will be 10 plus, and we will be doing the division, 5 divided by 5, which will be 1, and then times 2. Then we're going to do multiplication and then addition. So this should be the order, and this will be answer choice D. Number 20. According to the correct order of operations, which of these could be performed first to simplify the following expression? So we have 3 squared plus 24 divided by 6 times 2 plus parentheses 10 plus 6 squared. So the part that we need to start off at is going to be the parentheses. So I'm going to rewrite the parentheses right here. 10 plus 6 squared. And within the parentheses, we have addition and we have an exponent. And what comes first in the order of operations is going to be this exponent, or answer choice C.